Despite all the bad news 2020's delivered, we're also seeing rapid advancements in the world of tech. I'm talking about things like flying taxis. It's the kind of thing many of us will have dreamed of while sitting in heavy traffic. The kind of thing we'll have seen in sci-fi movies. But is this more science than fiction? Well, we had a demonstration of South Korea's future recently when 6 drone taxis, or electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, were tested carrying sacks of rice instead of people in Seoul's Yeouido, a busy hub for both business leaders and politicians. It was the first time for such a display in a densely populated area in South Korea, and while these 2-seater vehicles were Chinese-made, the South Korean government sees a lot of economic potential in both developing passenger drone infrastructure and producing local vehicles, like the 5-seater prototypes shown off by Hyundai and Hanwha Systems. Of course, motivation helps, but will this plan really get off the ground by 2025 as planned?
충분히 가능하다고 생각이 됩니다. 첫째, 이제 UAM이 상용화되기 위해서는 2가지 측면이 필요한데, 하나는 기체가 이제 기술적으로 안전성이 확보가 돼야 되고, 두 번째는 실제로 이제 운항을 하기 위한 제도적인 정책적인 기반이 갖춰져야 됩니다. 기체의 기술 개발은 상당히 지금 빨리 진행이 되고 있기 때문에 2025년도가 되면은 충분히 가능할 거로 보여지고.
So the plan is a phased approach from 2025. First, an air taxi route of around 50 kilometers between Seoul and Incheon International Airport, cutting the journey time to less than a third of the hour it might take by car, even without too much traffic. Then an increase in the number of so-called vertiports for passengers to get on and off flying taxis. And eventually, by 2035 or so, the government expects to see an on-demand hailing service. Through these phases, the service would go from piloted to autonomous. These flying taxis would also be given airspace in a belt between low-flying smaller drones and high-flying aircraft. One of the key concerns, critics say, is making the public feel secure. And of course, Kim Sang-no is well aware of those safety concerns.
한국 정부에서도 UAM 상용화를 두고 가장 신경을 쓰는 게 안전성 문제입니다. 기체 자체가 헬기보다 굉장히 안전합니다. 분산된 로터를 쓰기 때문에 더 안전하고 첨단 기상 항법 시스템도 갖추기 때문에 헬기보다는 훨씬 안전한 부분이 있고.
There may be other obstacles to cross too. We've seen fierce opposition to innovations like ride-hailing apps from traditional taxi drivers in Korea. How much of a threat they face depends partly on how expensive these flying taxis will be. That Seoul to Incheon Airport shuttle is expected to cost the equivalent of close to $100 compared with what might be around half that in a regular taxi today. But a bigger marketplace could bring that same air taxi fare down to under $20, according to the ministry, and that really would undercut traditional vehicles. We might add that petrol and diesel taxis don't have much of a future here anyway, with South Korea targeting carbon neutrality by 2050. So we're going to see changes both on the ground and above it. The fact is that from Seoul to Los Angeles, from Melbourne to Paris, plans are underway to introduce aerial passenger vehicles over the next 5 years. Even sooner, here and elsewhere, we're going to see drones used for deliveries beyond the existing testing programs around the world. South Korea's advantage may be its people's willingness to adopt new technologies. It will be worth watching this space, including a few hundred meters up.